Hey guys, welcome back to Haven and Hearthstone. Today is going to be a full weekend reset. This is a typical Saturday, Sunday for me. Saturdays, I try to focus on the home reset, doing all the laundry, cleaning the house, planning meals for the week, and ordering groceries, while Sundays are more of a personal reset, where I do things more for myself, like the everything shower and face masks, and planning for the week, just making sure that things go smoothly for me and I have everything that I need. I bought this lamp to replace the big one that I had over in this corner, and it ended up not being the color that I ordered. I ordered a gold and they ended up sending me a rose gold. I decided that I would try and give it a chance, so I set it up and thought maybe that I would get used to it. I tried to use it while I was sleeping, and not while I was sleeping, but while I was reading a book. And it was weird. It was like it was too bright, but also not bright enough at the same time. I'm not really sure how else to describe it, but I decided I did not want this lamp and issued a return for it, and then ordered these lamps instead, and we'll end up putting those up in a little while whenever I get them in. now we move on to my crusty, dusty work area. I know this is one of the areas that I would really like to update, much like most of the house that I am in right now. I hate how everything is under the desk and it looks like a huge mess. It is a huge mess. So I would love to completely redo this area at some point when I am done with all of the other things that I want to do with this house. But yes, I am aware it's a mess over here. I want to get it fixed up. I will get to that eventually. Okay, I love getting my house clean, which is why, I do it every single weekend. But I also love that it gives me hours of almost uninterrupted audiobook time. Today I was listening to Stranger in the Woods by Annie Taylor, or Annie Taylor, I'm not really sure. It's about an Australian photographer that takes a job in Scotland only to start discovering secrets about a little girl that was murdered and even some secrets about her past. I would give this book 4 out of 5 stars. It had some great twists and turns and the storytelling was great. I also loved the narrator. I think she did an amazing job. right, tell me if I'm alone on this or not. I don't think that I am, but I hate cleaning my stove. I feel like this thing is always dirty, and it doesn't matter how often I clean it. I can clean it every single night when I am done eating, when I am done cooking. It doesn't matter. It is always dirty. I always have to scrape it clean. I hate doing it. It's my least favorite thing to clean. I want to know what your least favorite thing is to clean. What do you hate cleaning in the house, but you do it every single weekend anyway? What do you hate to clean? And do you have any tips or tricks on how I could keep my oven clean so I don't have to literally scrape the stuff off of it every single weekend? Marcus. He is my 13-year-old little boy, and his favorite thing to do is stand in my way while I'm sweeping because he doesn't want me to throw away any good food. Seriously, for like the past 10 years since I've had him, every single time I'm sweeping, this is what he does, and he will not get out of the way until he's eaten everything that he can. I mean, like, he's got to do a thorough check of absolutely everything, and that big old body of his is not gonna move until he's done. When I clean, I am the type of person that's gonna go room by room, and I don't wanna leave one room until it's actually finished. I pick everything up, I put everything where it goes. I like to clean from top to bottom and vacuum or clean the floor, but I won't move on until that one is completely done. Do you complete one room at a time, or do you kind of move throughout the house and clean things as you go? Here's a little bonus tip for when you're cleaning. To make it easier with kids, I have these bins in the living room for the kids to quickly clean up their things before they move on from one thing to the next. One bin is for one kid, the other bin is for the other kid. Whenever they're done playing, all they have to do is pick the toys up, throw them in the bin, and then over the weekend or whenever the bins are full, I will make them take the bins to their room and put the things where they go. It doesn't actually work. This doesn't work for them. They don't do anything. They don't do any of it. But it does work for me. It does make things easier for me because it gives me a place to throw all of their toys, and then I'll take the bins, I'll dump them in their room, and then tell them to clean it up. So there's your tip. bought this cordless spin scrubber from Costco for about $40, and I was very excited to try it out. It can extend and it can be handheld. It's got a lot of different attachments for different types of cleaning, and I was just super excited to use it. I'm just gonna tell you right now that it worked very well. I'm very proud of how it worked, especially with the bath. I haven't used it on the cabinets like I plan to, but I think the smaller attachment is gonna make that really, really easy, and I will post some of that in the next Clean With Me that I do. Now Saturday is done and it is time to move on to Sunday, where I focus on my personal care and prepping for the coming week. I start my morning off with some coffee, and then I go pick up the groceries that I ordered the day before. I like to use curbside pickup and plan out my meals and order just what I need the previous day. It helps us save money because I'm only buying what's necessary, and it saves time, which is a lifesaver on the weekends. One of the things that I like to do to make my week easier is to pre-make most of my espresso. I like to just pre-brew all of it ahead of time. That way I don't have to wait for it to brew on those days. But the biggest part is the fact that I don't like it being hot and watering down my coffee. So if I pre-make it and I keep it in the fridge, it's cold and everything stays nice and fresh. I also like to make my little syrup mixture for the week. It's just brown sugar, some vanilla, and water. I heat that up so it all dissolves, and then whenever it cools down a little bit, I'll throw it in the fridge and keep it right by the espresso, so both of them are ready to go whenever I need them. Another thing I'll do is take some of our normal coffee grounds and turn them into espresso by using this little bitty blender thing that I have. I just put a couple of scoops of normal ground coffee in there, pulse it a little bit, get it all ground up, and then throw it in our containers, and that way it's easy for Josh to make his espresso in the mornings. When I'm done with the espresso grounds, or whatever you want to call them, I like to start on our sandwich bread for the week. I used to buy from the store and I realized that it never went bad. It would be on top of the fridge for months and there was never any mold or anything like that, and you just kind of realize I don't think that's something I want to be putting in my body, and I don't want my kids to be putting in their bodies either. So I decided to just start making my own. It's really not that hard. You can see me do it right here. It's simple. There's not a lot of ingredients. Plus, when you're baking bread in your house, it makes it smell amazing, and it's like my favorite part. I love it. So I'll put the bread in the oven with the light on no heat and wait for it to rise. While I'm doing that, I'll run back to the bathroom, give myself a quick dry rub, turn the shower on to get it heated up, open up a window, and then I will jump in the shower and do my everything shower, where I will scrub my hair really good. I like to use a hair mask, and then I will shave my entire body, including my face. When I'm done with the shower, I jump out without drying myself off. I lather myself up nice and good with some coconut, whatever, palm, coconut oil, lotion, whatever it's called. You can see it right there, that's what it is. Then I organize all of my vitamins for the week. Yes, they are gummy vitamins because the pills give me anxiety. And, you know, vitamins are vitamins. Plus, the gummies are a nice little morning snack. And that's it. When I'm done with doing all my stuff in the bathroom, I come out and throw my bread in the oven to actually bake, going through the steps that I'm supposed to. When that's baking, I normally head back to the game room and plan out my week, set up my planner, do all the little things like that to prep for the week. And then I'm good to go. Hang out with the kids for the rest of the night, hang out with Josh, play some video games. I like to go to bed early, get a good night's sleep, read a little book, put a mask on, whiten my teeth, just go through my nightly routine for the weekend, which we are not going to cover right here because the video is already long enough. Speaking of that, if you're still here, thank you so much. I know this is new to me. I'm not perfect. I'm not amazing at it. I'm sure the voiceover quality is not perfect because, like I said, I'm still working on it. I'm new to it. But I promise I will get better. I will get the things that make it better, and I will just improve all around. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching through. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. If there's anything else that you'd like me to film in the future, if there's any part of my house that you would like me to organize or deep clean, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to do that for you. And I think that's gonna be it. That's it. That was me cleaning my entire house, and well, you know, almost my entire house. There were bedrooms and our bathroom that I didn't clean, that I didn't show cleaning at least. But that was it. You know, you get what you get. Maybe you will get more next week. Just let me know what you want to see, and I'd love to make it happen for you. Again, thank you so much. I hope this was motivation for you. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you watch next week. Bye!